In this video, I'm going to be reacting to the report that Voices just put out called their 2025 Ad Agency Trend Report. So basically, they did a survey with a bunch of ad agencies and found out a bunch of information for trends for 2025, and we are going to talk about it. Let's dive in. Bam! 2025 Ad Agency Trends. Real human voice prevails. It's interesting that Voices is putting this out because they put a lot into an AI program that I don't know if it's working for them or not. I'm guessing no, and we're going to find out why right here. AI risks and opportunities for agencies in 2025. Generative AI has dramatically shifted the landscape for content creators who use voice talent. AI voice tools are transforming workflows, streamlining production, and challenging traditional methods. You know, I myself use a lot of AI. I use ChatGPT. I use an AI employee program or platform called Sintra, where you have like these little AI avatars and stuff. I'm just kind of scratching the surface. I hope, maybe it's already out there, I just haven't found it yet, something comes along that's going to make editing even faster and easier and all that. But I don't see voice as a viable way to do it. And we'll talk more about that in a second. Let's look more at the report. Trend. Strong brands need a strong brand voice. Of course, your brand voice is the foundation of your company's identity. Brands are very particular about how their voice should sound. 68% of clients specify an age range for voice talent. 93% of those requesting the age range of 18 to 54. Yeah, they want an adult. It's neat to see this, but I think it comes with a caveat, and that's a wide range. So meaning like if you're over the age of 54, your voice may not sound over the age of 54. It may sound older, but it may sound younger too. I talked to a dude who was 18 years old who sounded like he was older than me. You had this big, deep, bass, bassy voice like this. Voice age range, not your actual age range. So you got to remember that. Callie, what do you got? Callie's back. Give me that monkey. Callie's back. She's got a little monkey in her. Give me them. Callie, give me that monkey. I'm talking like she's going to answer. She just lays down and plays with the monkey now. Where were we? Advertising agencies frequently request specific tones that are friendly and relatable. Yeah. Their briefs for voices embodying the brand characteristics they want to convey. The most sought after traits are caring, emotional, empathetic, guy, girl next door, upbeat. Okay, this is great. You can find this out by looking at ChatGPT as well, because it's going to cross-reference voice characteristics that clients are actually looking for if you ask it to. But it's great to see this. I don't know if I actually use the word caring in any of my demos on Voices or Voice 123 for that matter. As I'm sure many of you know, or you may not know, the title of your demo works as SEO, search engine optimization. And when clients are looking for things like caring, emotional, empathetic, if you have demos tagged that way, meaning the title has, let's say it's a Nike commercial and you have Nike dash caring dash guy next door dash upbeat, and they search those terms, your demo is going to pop up, and then they can hear your voice and send you a private invite if they want, or shoot your message on Voice 123 and just offer you a job. So super important to tag your demos on pay-to-play sites like voices.com, Voice 123, whatever sites you might be on, because they're searchable. 68% of clients specify vocal age range. 93% of those requests 18 to 54. I want to talk about this too. They'll specify a vocal range, but they're open to anything. I can't tell you how many jobs I've booked in the senior category, not by trying to sound like a senior, but sounding like me. My vocal age is, I don't know, somewhere between like late 20s and late 30s. Maybe if I'm being super serious, maybe early 40s. I'm actually in my mid to late 40s, but my voice doesn't sound like it because I still think I'm a kid. And I talk like a teenager. But I don't sound like a teenager. But what I'm saying is the clients will say one thing, but do another thing if they have the right performance. I've booked so many jobs. I've booked jobs where they wanted a specific accent and I didn't do it. And I just did me. And they're like, yeah, that works. So just know that these are things what the client says they want and what they actually go with are two very different things. Much like many of the women I've dated. I'm a one-woman man now, baby. I'm in love with my baby mama. Humans connecting with humans. The frenzy and enthusiasm around AI notwithstanding, to hit the right note, agencies must deeply understand their clients' brand identities so they can translate them into precise voice specifications that will resonate with the right target markets. Brands want to connect with audiences on a human level. Authenticity, emotional resonance, and relatable conversational tone in voiceover has never been more important, especially with the tsunami of change AI is bound to bring. I can't tell you how many times I get an audition request where it literally says, do not sound like an AI. We want you to sound authentic. We want you to sound not like an announcer. People confuse the word announcer they think that means energetic and loud and all that stuff. Announcer basically means it's inauthentic. You can take announcer and inauthentic and put them in the same box. You can be loud and energetic and fun and brash and bold on the microphone and still be authentic. You know, me, I'm in my real life, I'm a little out there. Do I seem like I'm inauthentic? Do I seem like I'm talking from the heart when you guys see these videos. Yeah, but I'm kind of in your face too, right? You can do that in your voiceover as long as you're being authentic. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is brands want to connect with that. They want their brand to match up with the brand of that person. So for instance, I do a ton of ski resort stuff, snowboard stuff, surf stuff, anything that has to do with like sort of extreme sports or fun sports, like that kind of stuff. I've got it down because I sound like it because I grew up snowboarding and all that kind of stuff, right? If you are auditioning for a job and you have experience in that area, like for instance, let's say you're a former bartender and you're auditioning for a spot for an alcohol brand, let them know. Yeah, I mean, maybe not for your agent, but on pay to play, you write a proposal, you can put it right in the proposal. It might help you out a little bit because they want you to be authentic. They want you to be relatable. They want you to cohesively, what's the word I'm trying to look here? Cohesively connect with their brand until you intertwine, until you're one. I don't know, that's a little excessive. They want their brand to match your brand and they want to connect with human beings. So of course, AI isn't going to be what they first go for. Well, actually, the way that they're using AI right now is to do scratch tracks to time out their spots. So let's say they think they want to get it in their commercial in a minute and a half, and they did like 210 words, but they're not sure if it's going to fit with the animation. So they'll do an AI scratch track. And then they know the pace that you should go at. And actually helps you too, because they'll send it to you and like, oh, but they're like, don't do it like the AI. Keep being a person. Authenticity is A+. We just talked about this. Authenticity continues to be a winner in how agencies talk to their audiences. Audiences want a relatable girl guy next door and script reads that can pull on real human emotions. And this is impossible to achieve with synthetic AI voices. Using even slightly robotic sounding voices can negatively impact a consumer's trust in a brand. And you know, it's really like pushed it. They've always wanted authenticity, but even more with AI. If you sound kind of like an AI, you know, I've done auditions where I kind of phoned it in. The client was pretty straightforward and they're like, hey, can you do we liked your audition, but it sounded a little bit AI-ish. It was a little bit too perfect. Can you do it again and just, you know, just roll it off the cuff a little bit more? Don't try to be so perfect. I'm like, yeah, totally. Thanks for the honesty. Cry a little bit. But yeah, authenticity now more than ever. The critical importance of authenticity continues to call into question the value of AI-enabled technology. People are far more likely to trust a human voice, 55% over an AI-generated synthetic tone, 23%. Where's the other 20 whatever percent going where they trust it? Diversity is on display. To have a discrete voice that properly reflects brand interests, diversity in voice talent is more important than ever. Many agencies are sourcing voice talent in international languages or specific accents or dialects. This is interesting. Our data shows a broad range in the age of voices being requested. That means that despite what your social feed may tell you, not all voiceovers are tailored to Gen Z. Demand for diverse voices ensures that content appeals to the broad spectrum of today's audiences. 63% of surveyed clients hired talent from outside of North America. Here's the thing, and obviously they had their full report, but I'm not going to bore you guys by looking at it right now, but maybe I'll report back later. I'm curious who they surveyed. If they're surveying clients from all over the world, of course 63% are going to hire outside of North America, because more than 63% of the world is outside of North America. So if they're talking to agencies all over, I mean, if they even include agencies in India, it'll drive that number down. This number is cool. It shows that they are looking outside of North America, but make no mistake, if you are trying to work in voiceover in the North American market, you are going to have to learn, if you want to expand how much you want to be, how hireable you are, you're going to have to learn the standard American accent. Of course, they'll be open to some diverse accents, of course, but you want to be able to do both. And you can do it. It just takes a little bit of work. Hire an accent coach. Yes, your native accent, wherever that may be from, can work, but I would do both just in case. It's pretty rare I get asked for a Canadian accent. Most of the time they want an American accent, and I do that all the time. I've done American accents for jobs where they wanted something that wasn't an American accent, and I still booked it. Know what the most hireable accents are in your field. So if you want to work in the North American field, that's standard American accent. If you want to work in, I don't know, the European, I would say probably RP British. I may be wrong. Sometimes they go for a standard European accent, but that's usually when North Americans are hiring, because I don't think there's a standard European accent. But they do say they want like a non-distinguishable European accent sometimes for North American jobs. So remote recording dominates. Technology is completely redefining voiceover workflows. Yeah, okay, look, of course they want to do it remotely. COVID really showed that you could just do this from home all the time. I mean, I've been doing it from home most of the time. It's pretty rare I going to the studio. By rare, I mean like maybe once a month or once every other month. Now that I'm in Florida, probably just doing it from home. There are some pretty good studios here though. But yeah, this is nothing new. It's going to keep going more and more home. So if you're thinking about getting into voiceover and you're thinking about doing it from like a local studio, you need a home studio. You can use studios around you to supplement, like in case, like, let's say you have a noise issue at home and you're worried about recording live, you can hire a studio that's local. And I mean, on the flip side of this, which is good, bad for studios, good for you, the prices, because the demand is so low, the prices of renting out a studio is so low right now. Low compared to what it used to be. It used to be hundreds. Now you can pick up a studio for an hour with an engineer for like $100 or less, depending where you are. Agencies are experimenting with AI voices. AI voice tools have made inroads into agency workflows, but not everyone is adopting them. Okay. I think, let's see, rough cuts and sizzles right here. When there are sizzles, kind of like a pitch, when they're trying to like get a project greenlit by the big boss, so they're presenting it. I do a lot of sizzle reels, but yeah, I think sometimes they'll use that, or it says 80%, they'll use that for that instead of a real voice, but I still see those all the time. Rough cuts, yeah. So like I was saying, scratch reads, that's where they're using it. Commercials, 28%. I'd like to see everybody that they surveyed for that, because the way I would do it is I would break it up into budget levels. So people that have a budget of, let's say, $1,000 or more. I bet this number here, 20%, would be so low. I bet it would be like 2% if they have a budget of like $1,000 or more. Here's the thing. Look up what it costs, even just for meta ads. Let's say that's the least expensive form for advertising agencies to advertise when they're putting a budget behind it. Forget about organic. That's free, obviously. Look up meta ads. See how much agencies on average spend to promote their brand. Even like a mid-level or low level. I can tell you this because I've used ads, and some of you may see them, to promote my coaching. That shit is not cheap. It's expensive. Do you think like in these corporations and these businesses, let's say it's somebody like Microsoft or even like lower level, like Wix or some, not like lower level, but lower budget, like a company that's got maybe their net worth or their valuation is like 10 million instead of 10 billion. They're going to be spending somewhere in the high $100,000 a month to the low $1 million a month in advertising. Do you think they're going to risk brand reputation on saving $1,000 on using an AI instead of a real person? That's why I keep telling people that, voiceover is like, there's no risk yet of AI as it stands taking over the voiceover industry, because we're still people and nobody wants to hire an AI. It's slower, because if you're doing a get ad, you need a director, and the director's not going to sit there and put in a bunch of prompts until the voiceover is right. It kills the whole experience. But the whole thing is, when you get into a live directed session with a director, it's the end product is a mishmash of what you have. You have to bring ideas of what you want to do with the project and how you want to deliver it, and come up with some stuff. Like, they'll appreciate it. The director will have an idea, the producer will have an idea, and everybody will come together and you jam out like jazz, and you make something that nobody thought of, like that they couldn't have conceived what it would have been until it was a bunch of artists working together. That's why AI is like, it's not the way to go, and it's not going to take over human voices. As long as you're working to be a voiceover artist and not an actor, you're going to be just fine. We got off track a little bit here. Let's get back on track. Speed is a primary motivator. AI helps expedite the creative process by providing placeholders, initial drafts, and AI-generated voice overs allow for quick iterations during client review stages. Yeah, that's interesting too, because they need that. And I know that some people have cloned their own voice, and like, I wouldn't put it on a platform. Me personally, I got nothing against people that do. I get it. Voices has a AI cloning program. People house it on there, and they seem to like it. They seem to be fine. Me, not for me. That's all. Nothing against voices, nothing against anyone else. I don't want to clone my voice. I like being able to say I've never had my voice cloned, but it is interesting that some people are making money by cloning their voice and then using their cloned voice to clean up in like the sizzle reel and scratch read industry. Cause that used to be done by voice actors and you get paid for it. Not a lot, but you would. But agencies still have reservations. However, AI is embraced for the initial development. 44% of respondents who say they have not used AI voice tools offer 4 reasons that limit its application on final productions. I'm going to say trust. Let's see. Okay, what do we got here? Client preference for human voices is 43%. I feel like it's higher than that. Concerns about quality, 39%. Okay. Being unsure about the ethics. This surprises me. I didn't think companies would have any problem with the ethics. I thought they'd just be like, let's just use what's cheap and what works. You know what I mean? Like if it works, which kind of flies in the face of what I just said, how they don't care about spending money on voice talent because of how much more they spend on the actual ad itself. I think it's cool that ethics is something that came into question on it. That's really neat. There's hope for humankind yet. Barriers with language availability, 5%. The data clearly demonstrates that while AI voice technology has made significant strides in pre-production process, the human voice remains irreplaceable for final productions. Absolutely. Finding the perfect voice for a brand can be challenging for many reasons, especially across multiple languages. Advertising is expanding globally at a rapid pace, and having the creative tools pivotal in today's world. The rise of AI technology timelines may be becoming easier to meet, but there also remains the need for authenticity that can translate across any language. Okay, pays to have a collaborative team to work side by side to create a seamless, efficient, and timely workflow to achieve the goal at hand. Interesting. So, this is where I think, like I said, I have no plans on doing it, but if you did clone your voice and you can have your voice speak in different languages, of course you can't do that, but like that might be something the client that could be positive for you, because if they're doing a commercial and they want you to be, they want to use the commercial in Japan, America, China, Australia. I'm just kidding. I don't know. They don't speak. They still speak English, but kind of. Anyway, that could be advantageous to be able to have your voice in multiple different languages. Oh, Jay O'Connor, CEO of Voices. What does he say? Our clients recognize that nuanced emotion, authenticity, and trust conveyed by professional voice actors are essential for creating meaningful connections with audiences. This trend underscores the enduring value of human talent in our industry as we embrace AI's capabilities. At Voices, we're committed to leveraging both AI and human expertise to deliver the best possible outcomes for our clients, ensuring that the power of the human voice continues to resonate in advertising and beyond. Interesting. So they have a program where you can clone your voice. I'm curious. I'd love them to put out their numbers of how AI has worked for them. Voices team, if you're seeing this, Jay, you wrote me before. You seem like a great guy. Show us your numbers. I'd love to know how the AI platform has worked out for you guys so far. Is it something that's working for you? Is it maybe not? It's by the sounds of this letter, I'm thinking maybe it didn't fly the way that you thought it would. I don't know. I'm curious about those numbers. Or is it crushing it? I don't know. But I would assume that the human part of your platform is doing a little bit better. Well, from my point of view, it's still like the auditions are just coming in. Other notable trends. Social has staying power. 54% agencies cite social media as a top driver of client demand, and social platforms continue to be an important part of marketing strategies. Interesting. The one thing I thought about with social media is if you have a following and they know you have a following, I'm curious as to whether that's going to help them decide on you as a talent. So for instance, I know in some cases it will, because I've lost a job to an influencer before for voiceover because they were going to promote it on theirs, but they weren't a voiceover person. They were just an influencer doing voiceover. If you develop a following, there's a few out there that have pretty good followings. I'm curious if that's going to be the deciding factor. If they'll be like, oh yeah, listen, let's say I had like 1 million followers on Instagram. I don't. I have like 5,000, which to me still seems like a feat. But I got like over 20,000 on YouTube. You guys, love you. If I had like, let's say 1 million followers, I'm curious if that would help me book more voiceover jobs. If they'd pick me, and as a stipulation of picking me, if they would say, you also have to make a post on your social media about the commercial. I wonder. So here's what we've learned. Human is still number one. Of course, AI is great for pre-production, but AI voice tools are powerful assets in production, but final production still require emotional depth and trust that only human talent can deliver. This confirms what I was saying all the time, that AI was never going to take over human voices, that it'll be a tool like anything else that people will use to make their workflow faster. So for those of you out there that comment on some of my posts and other stuff that say, AI is taking over voiceover, are you okay, bro? Like, are you able to still get jobs? Is voiceover totally decimated your life? I mean, AI voiceover? No. The only thing that it's done so far is AI's taken over the scratch read categories, and it's driven the price of e-learning and, like training videos down a bit, because I think those just need to be informative a lot of the time. I still do them, not as much as I used to, rarely, but people don't have the budget for them anymore because they can just get an AI and they're not trying to sell anything. They're just trying to give information. And I think that AI voiceover is good for that kind of stuff in long form. I never really liked it anyway, but let me know. What do you think about the report? Does it give you hope? Does it give you clarity? Were you worried? Did you come to a conclusion like me about a few months after AI was released where you were like, this is never taken over voiceover, we're all good? Let me know in the comments. Or has it affected you in a negative way? Let me know. Other than that, this has been another video. I am Jesse. Please like and subscribe and share the content, whatever you want to do with it. And if you want to learn how to do voiceover, check the links below. If you want to work with me, there's many ways to do it. Like I said, check links below. And other than that, I've been Jesse. I said it twice now. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.